We'll be talking all things App of the Year, and this will be done by Mr. Sizwe Zim, who is the Business Development and Content Director at Creative Space Media. We'll then have a guest speaker from Kula, the Kula app. Thereafter, we'll open up the floor to some questions and answers, and this will be answered by the team at Creative Space Media, as well as some of the developers on the call, as well as the judges from some of the past events. And then lastly, we'll just have an outro where we share a survey with you. But let me hand over to Skinny to take you through the rest of the session.
Awesome. Thank you, Gabriel. Next slide, please. So with the next slide, I would like to call Mr. Sizwe Zim to take us through. Mr. Sizwe, are you ready?
Yes, all good, ready.
Okay, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Before I jump in, I'm obviously going to present. I've got a presentation, but before I jump in, I don't know who can give me an update on how many people we've got on the line, just out of interest. Actually, 29. Oh, there, I see it. Yeah, I'm excited to share what App of the Year 2021 is with everybody. This is our 10th Mtn Business App of the Year Awards. So I'm just going to start sharing a short presentation that I've prepared for everybody. I'm glad to also announce that we've got Andrew McHenry, who's been one of our judges since the beginning, actually. Andrew's literally been one of our head judges since the beginning, and one of the people that rally behind App of the Year Awards. So I'm going to disrupt your program a little bit tonight and bring him in for any opinions and for any advice that he's got to give. So I am going to share my screen just very shortly. Actually, don't know how to do it on Google, but we'll figure it out as we do. Do I share my entire screen, a window, or a tab?
You should have a window or tab.
Okay, cool. I'm going to share a window for now. So yeah, so just getting into it, like I mentioned, this is App of the Year 2021. But just to give everybody a very, very brief history of App of the Year and what it is and where it is right now and how it got to be where it actually is. We as Creative Space Media, so as introduced, a creative director at a small, big agency called Creative Space Media. And we really do amazing, amazing things in industries that we want to do epic stuff in. And one of those industries just so happens to be the tech industry. And within the tech industry, we've got a couple of flagship products or properties. And one of them is the App of the Year Awards, which we own and we conceptualized. And we sold basically to Mtn Business as a sponsor. So this journey started off in 2010, 2011, with the emergence of the first iPhone, which or the first phone that actually used mobile applications as features to make phones a lot more smarter than they were, going from feature phones to smartphones. And at the time, we were sort of, I don't want to say gallivanting, but we were sort of like gallivanting around in Germany. And apps were such a thing. They were such a buzzword in 2011. So as we came back to South Africa, there was a lot of talk around Africa, and particularly South Africa, being the next frontier for tech development and tech innovation. And we took that, saying that, if we are the next frontier, then, and if these apps or these mobile applications are the next frontier, then surely, there needs to be a platform that really celebrates and encourages people to get into this particular space. So we conceptualized the platform that encourages people to get into app development. Encourages people to get into app development and also celebrates them for the work that they do within the app development space. And that's how we came up with an awards ceremony called App of the Year Awards. And please feel free to just jump in and interrupt me at any point. I know there's a Q&A a little bit later in the session, but please do interrupt me if you've got any burning questions that you'd like me to answer. So we conceptualized the App of the Year Awards. At the time, there was no headline sponsor or any corporate attached to it. It was essentially just a concept that we had come up with. And we shopped around, we shopped the actual property around, and luckily enough, I think for ourselves as well as MTN Business, there was a huge interest from their side, and seeing sort of the progression of innovation around the world, they said, we want to latch onto this and we want to give this a shot. So as Creative Space Media, that's in 2012 was when we actually first launched the MTN Business App of the Year Awards. And it was the MTN Business because it was the enterprise business unit, or the business unit of MTN that actually bought into this, which is essentially B2B. So they bought into it, and we ran the first MTN Business App of the Year Awards in 2011. And it had around, if I'm not mistaken, around 50 apps at the time that entered into this competition. Apps were a completely new thing in the world, let alone in a developing country as ours. So it was relatively extremely new. So we had about 50 entries. We had it at in Rosebank, Melrose Arc, and we had about 150 people that attended. So we ran the first App of the Year Awards, and with 50 entries. The next year, in 2013, we had about 150 entries, and the following year it grew. And the last year that we were at, in 2020, we received about I think more than 600-700 submissions into the actual awards. So it's really grew into something that was relatively small, and I think it's indicative of the app development space and tech innovation at large, not only in the world, but as well as in our beautiful country in particular, with the rise of tech development and app development. So yeah, we're sitting right now with one of the biggest platforms on the continent when it comes to tech innovation and celebrating tech innovation, and the biggest in our country. So I'm going to take you through a couple of sort of parts and elements of the App of the Year Awards for 2021. I know I'm supposed to follow, there's a particular agenda that the team at Geek Culture had put out for me, but unfortunately, I'm not going to necessarily follow it in that sequence. I'm going to disrupt it a bit and follow it in sort of my sequence. So I'm going to start off with an overview of what the App of the Year Awards are. And there, Andrew, if you can just prepare yourself, I just want to bring you in as a judge who's been there from the beginning, just to give us sort of your experience of App of the Year Awards from the beginning, and really what its ethos is, because yeah, I'm going to touch on that a little bit, what its actual ethos is and why we're here. I'm going to give you an overview of the 2021 categories. Our categories sort of morph and evolve as App of the Year evolves itself, and as industries evolve. Change is the one constant, and as change happens, we need to change as well. And then for the 2021 competition, I'm going to give you an overview of how to enter and what the requirements are. I'll give you, this is actually particularly interesting for everybody that's on this call, because there's one misconception about the App of the Year Awards. And I think it's because of how massive the awards actually are themselves. So that misconception is that they are too big to actually award the Underdog and App of the Year awards, and I'm going to give you I'm going to show you something extremely interesting. App of the Year awards have always been about innovation, and this is something that I always say, that technology is an extreme equalizer of skill. It's an equalizer of all of these things. So we've had instances where large corporations have entered many times into App of the Year awards, but because of the well thought outness of a solution or of an app and the well thought outness of the innovation, it's more often than not that you would get an up and coming underdog who wins App of the Year as an overall winner than you would get a large corporation. So with that, I really want to encourage everybody to really pay attention to the App of the Year awards and what they stand for. I'll give you an overview of the closing date for this year, and what we're looking for this year. And again, maybe I'll bring Andrew into that conversation. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about this epic app called Cola, and how, just their story. And you're not going to hear it from me. I'm going to introduce one of the guys that were there. His name is Jackson. If you were there at the time, I think this was in 2016. Jackson was the guy who was dancing on stage. He was doing the nene while they were getting their check on stage. It's quite a funny clip, but yeah. I'm going to introduce Jackson and tell you a little bit about Cola, but I'll allow Jackson to tell you about that. Also, what I'm doing throughout tonight, I'm running this weird competition because I'm a creative. And one of my favorite things is movies and music. So I've got slide breaks, and in between all the slide breaks, I've got these quotes, these movie or music quotes. And the person that can get or guess all 6 of these quotes will win a 500 Rand Take-A-Lot voucher. So the first one is Cop DM, seize the day, boys. Make your lives extraordinary. So the funny thing is, before while we were getting ready for this call, Misha says, I am from the 1960s. I don't know. Andrew, you might get this. I'm not sure. But this is a classical movie, and these quotes that I've taken are quotes that have inspired me as a creative. So I hope they resonate with everybody. So the first quote is, Cop DM, seize the day, boys. Make your lives extraordinary. And with that, I say, seize the day, Cop DM, make your lives extraordinary by entering into the 2021 App of the Year Awards. So the person that gets all 6 of these quotes and where they're from will go home with a 500 Rand Take-A-Lot voucher. So the App of the Year Awards, as mentioned, we've been 10 years in the game. We started off in 2011, and it's an app development awards that really strives and seeks to upskill and allow developers, or the main ethos of why it was started was really to allow scaling of innovation throughout not just our country, but through the continent as well. I'm not going to read these points verbatim, but you can do so, and I'll touch on each of them. But that was the main ethos of why we started App of the Year 10 years ago. It was really to celebrate and enable the scaling of innovation at the continent, and not just in apps, but in all things tech. But it just happened that the way that we captured it was through apps. So the awards traditionally have encompassed a submission. So you submit your app, and I'll take you through that. And then there's obviously an awards component. There's a judging component that will get you to the awards component. We've previously had developer briefing days where we do a roadshow around the country, and going from one incubation hub to universities to any spaces where there's a lot of tech innovation and where developers find themselves, and we'd speak to them about what App of the Year is and the opportunities that App of the Year provides. App of the Year is a champion of app development talent in South Africa, and talent at all levels. We're not just focusing on like I said earlier, we're not focusing only on the large corporates with a lot of resources. Tech is such an equalizer that the amount of people that you have, the amount of money that you have, doesn't actually matter. It's really about the well thought outness of the innovation. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later today. Again, as mentioned, we've increased the number of submissions year on year from, just 50 in the first year to over 600 in 2020. That's supposed to say 2019. And that just really speaks about our establishment within the ecosystem and, how more and more app developers are getting entrenched into App of the Year, and how more and more we want to get entrenched into the ecosystem, and hence we doing these sorts of Friday night calls. The campaign is dedicated to discovering South Africa's leading mobile apps. So some of the biggest household apps that have come out of the country have been established and discovered through the App of the Year Awards. And discovered, I literally mean discovered, where, they go through the judging process, and people like with the likes of Andrew would, see that this app, deserves a chance. This one needs a little bit refinement there. And the ones that deserve a chance get celebrated at this massive platform where, other corporates or investors, VCs see this solution and what its potential is. And there's been many. I'm going to go through a spreadsheet where apps have literally been bought because they've been discovered from App of the Year. Large businesses, and I'm not talking about small scale businesses, large businesses have been launched just from entering into App of the Year. And these are large businesses who came into App of the Year as startups or as one-man developers, and entering into App of the Year, they win a category or they win the overall competition, and it just, scales, their progression into a large-scale business or a household name. So that's really the ethos of what we're about. Before COVID-19, we used to have a physical event where, we'd bring the entire ecosystem together, and we bring in companies that support the entire ecosystem to actually exhibit, what they do for the ecosystem, to speak to developers, to network with each other, and just get to know each other and really build the ecosystem into something a lot more coercive, a lot more, and a lot more family orientated, if you want to call it that. And really to grow the ecosystem and to get the ecosystem involved in this. So we've been, for the past decade, synonymous with growth and development of African innovation and technology. We've identified and taken advantage of a number of business opportunities, discovered a number of app development talent, and I'm going to show you all of these, uncovered some of South Africa's most well-known apps, and brought together different sectors. You'll see this through our categories that we have to solve a variety of social, economic, and business needs. Again, one of the things about business, and this is not even just apps alone, just business, you need to solve a problem. And the best apps that we've seen out of App of the Year are apps that actually solve a particular problem. And previously, we've really honed in and zoned in into a lot of the problems that we have in South Africa, but we are part of the global economy, the global community. So apps that solve a large-scale problems are the apps that actually succeed, and those are the apps that we are looking for in particular. But I just want to bring Andrew into this conversation, and just is there anything that you'd like to add on, take away, or say, Andrew?
Wow, Sizwe, it's always hard to follow after you. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, man?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Great, man. Yeah, well, thanks for that kind of like a recap in the history. It was quite, can I say, even emotional for me just to hear you telling the story, because when we judging and we in the thick of it, and like you said, I've been part of this journey for so long, and you kind of forget your history and where we came from and where we are. And I think what's been achieved, both as the event, but more importantly, the apps that have come into the ecosystem, that have entered, big or small, and how they've gone on to see great things. I mean, we talked about really a great one just now, the Cooler app, it's a farming app. It's solving and addressing uniquely African, South African problems. And when we judge, we look for those. Okay, that's what we look for. And I think I'll highlight what you said. It's not just the big corporates that can win. We always look at the underdog and say, give these guys a gap, because that's what the platform is all about. We don't say, okay, because they're small, they get a special privilege, but we look at them equally, okay, big or small. And in fact, if you're a big corporate, we expect a lot more from you. So best you up your game, So I think, but the like you said, the ethos is around looking at apps that one, come from a startup environment, solving problems, addressing education. I mean, look at some of the educational apps that we've had, especially in the time of COVID, remote learning. So the App of the Year platform has given those kind of apps now even additional exposure, and ultimately benefiting people in the country who need to get access to those learning materials through the apps that we've awarded throughout the process. So yeah, also I think for me, just is the evolution. You talk about the ecosystem. What about the addition of the App Academy, to developers?
Absolutely.
I think it was launched last year, I think it was, and it's just grown. I mean,
It was
MTN coming on board, 0 rating access for people to get there if you're on the MTN network. I mean, hats off to our benefactors. MTN Business has been awesome. I always like to recognize them, because without them, we wouldn't really have this platform, and to have them as a headline sponsor for so long and backing us, and they really do back us. We've got one of the biggest operators, if not the biggest operator in Africa, they are behind us. So I mean, it's a powerful brand. I mean, it's a great platform. Having MTN Business, okay, associated with this, there's so many things that can be unlocked from that as well, So I think, I've commented a little bit. So, I mean, I'm happy to speak for a long time, but I know we've got a short period of time. Yeah. And I'd rather ask maybe questions and let people tap into me as a judge. And if they've got a question for me, I'm here to try and let them understand from a judge's perspective what we look for and what drives us. And I think I'll close by saying this. Being in the judge's room on the final night of judging, which can go way into the nights. Some judges have to get on a plane and fly back to Cape Town. We're on the phone with them, going to the airport. We need their vote. It gets very heated. It gets very emotional, because we as judges, we really take this serious. It's not a party. We don't come in there for the free peanuts and beer and things like that. We really come in to see what's been coming through the ecosystem and what's been innovative and what's exciting. And for me, it's a highlight of my year every year to be part of this amazing event.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Andrew. And yeah, just to, I think, add on to what Andrew is saying, it is a very serious competition. This is about people's careers on one side, but it's also about really solving problems. And it's really about finding the next big thing. And we found consecutively the next big things through this platform. And I also just want to say, from an MTN point of view, their commitment to this really is exactly that. It's about finding the next big things and amplifying what they're about, and giving MTN is the biggest operator on the continent. It's about giving they backing towards behind these app developers that they find. And just to add on to the underdog story as well, I have this firm belief that bet on the underdog, they've got a more compelling story. That's just my belief and ethos. I'm not a judge. Andrew's the judge, but yeah. Now I just really want to go into the 2021 categories of App of the Year awards. And going into that, I'm going into it with my second quote. And please tweet with the hashtag Mtn App Awards. And what's the other? Recode the world, hashtag Recode the world, hashtag Mtn App Awards with these quotes. My second quote is, "You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention." Boom. Yeah, that's also a quote from a movie. So yeah, if you can guess what that is with the one previously, tweet that, and the first person to guess all 6, I think it's 6, I'm not sure. I think I might have added more, but I think it's 6, gets a 500 Rand Take-A-Lot voucher. So our categories for 2021, a lot of them we've had for the past couple of years. Some of them are new, right? but I'll give you a brief breakdown on each one of them. First one, best consumer solution. So this is a B2C solution. It's an app that really solves for consumer needs, that makes the lives of ordinary people easier. And a lot of apps really are about that. But this is something that, is really about looking at, how to make the lives of ordinary people easier. When I wake up in the morning, how can you make my life and my day easier from that point on? So that's the best consumer solution. Best women in STEM, we're looking for sisters out there, man. And like whatever solution that you have, this is your particular category and nobody else can enter into this category. These are solutions or apps that are built by sisters and women. And that goes into that category. Best enterprise solution, this is B2B solutions. So this is really looking at how your app is making the lives of businesses easier. So whether a business needs to get to a consumer or a business needs to get to another business, this app is particularly made for a business and how to, make a business more efficient, make it more effective. So we're looking at things like around IoT, the Internet of Things, which is really about effectiveness and efficiency. We're looking at CRMs. We're looking at one of the apps that I've seen, which is like was hiring tools, an app that has hiring tools for HR managers. So it's anything business related. This is the best enterprise solution. Best agricultural solution, that explains itself. It's really about enabling and advancing the agricultural space. And the likes of Cola came out of this category, won this particular category, but also won the overall App of the Year awards, because I think agriculture, and we can all agree to this, is such a huge need on our continent, and particularly in our country, where food shortage is such a huge thing, particularly now. I'm looking at what we've gone through in South Africa in the past week or so. Food scarcity is a huge thing. So agriculture really plays an important role in our country, but also in the continent at large. So that really is about solving a problem, a real problem that people have on the ground. Best educational solution. Again, this is a real problem for our country as well as the continent at large. One of our VIP ambassadors is Banyaza Lesufi from the Gauteng Department of Education, who's a huge advocate for morphing and merging technology and education into one. I've got apps that I can just think of at the top of my mind. Andrew touched on this in the previous slide. Matric Live, who started off, and this was built by two guys. Matric Live started off 2 years ago as an app that was, fairly doing okay. And when COVID hit, they saw their numbers increase from, I think they had 30,000 downloads. And in a matter of 4 months, they had about 500,000 downloads. That was because of the need of online educational tools that people had as a result of the COVID-19 breakdowns. Best financial solution. These are apps that really solve, whether it's for business or for consumers, financial issues. So, the likes of the F&B app, where I can actually transact from the comfort of my phone, wherever I go on the move, I can actually transact as a business or as a consumer. The most innovative app, we're thinking about the different thinker here. We're looking for the different thinker, the person that really solves a solution in somewhat of an unorthodox way. And this is a groundbreaking solution that we're looking for. Best gaming solution, this is a game, guys. And gaming is one of the biggest growing industries worldwide. And everyone is looking for a game, is looking to escape a little. And some games can be simple, extremely simple, but be very, very effective. One of our winners last year was Rhapsody, and all it was is an app where you go onto it, it plays a beat, it throws a word out, and you have to rap to the beat. with the word, using the word, and then like it throws more words. The better you become, it throws more words, and it gives you a rating at the end of your song or your rap. And that's something, you know, very simple, but it's something extremely entertaining for people. Best health solution. Again, we are in the middle of a pandemic as a world, as a society, and here we're looking for, you know, an app that solves, you know, health industry challenges ranging from limited access to healthcare professionals, to medication, to real-time emergency information needs. One of the ideas that we've had and we've thrown around was an Uber for ambulances. You know, if I live in, I don't know, a township or a densely populated area where, you know, it's very hard for medical professionals to get to me, how do I use my phone to let them know where I am? So those are the sort of like the type of solutions that we're looking for there. The best hackathon solution, we've got a side campaign that we're running, which is called the Mtn App Academy, where we've got up and coming app developers, and we are giving them a 6-week training course to teach them how to develop. So they're going through all of this, and so at the end of the 6 weeks, they have a hackathon, and those solutions get entered into this category. Best South African solution, we're looking for a solution here that solves a uniquely South African problem. Uniquely South African problem. This could be is Stokvel. Stokvel is a uniquely South African thing. It's Phahlo Ikota, that's a Amagwinya, that's a uniquely South African thing. One of the guys in previous years, I don't even know if I should mention this right now, but take it for what it is. It's a joke. In a couple of years ago, he had a Gupta app, a Gupta and Jacob Zuma app, and it was a game, and the whole point of the game was for you to spend 270 million rand as quickly as possible. That's something uniquely South African, as you know, politically driven and politically charged as it was or is. It's only found in South Africa. Best Campus Cup. This is where developers from, you know, campuses. If you've got an app and you are from a, you know, or enrolled in an academic institution wherever, and you've got an app already, put your app in there, and this is where we put you and your institution versus another developer and their institution. So sizobona ukuthi who's got the better app in the country and which institution brings out the better developers in the country. Best African solution. This is our first time 10 years later branching out into the rest of the continent. We're bringing the rest of the continent with us, and we are going to the rest of the continent. So this is for apps that are outside of South Africa, but still within the confines of the African continent. And then Huawei category 15. Huawei have a particular category of their own where you actually have to build your app and integrate various Huawei toolkits into your app on the HMS platform. And there they've got their own prizes, which is a massive competition as well. And this is where you enter that. So those and you can go onto our website. It's www.appoftheyear.co.za to get all of this information. We're doing this so you can actually ask us questions. I'm just going to rush through a little bit here because I'm just looking at the time. Our third quote is, Ego, Ego, it's alive, it's alive, it's alive. I gave you the answer there. It's from Frankenstein. It's a 1931 movie. So there you have it. And this is how you enter into the App of the Year Awards. And I use that quote because this is how you make your dreams alive, really. So entering into the App of the Year Awards, you go into appoftheyear.co.za /submit/ you go into this form. It's a fairly quick form, guys. Don't be alarmed by how many fields you need to fill out. It's very, very quick. It's something that you can fill out on your phone. It's information that as an app developer, you should already have either in your mind or on your phone. It's just asking about what is your app, what is the link of your app, and your app doesn't necessarily have to be published on a particular Play Store. You can give us you can upload the APK of your app. But you know, we do welcome apps that are published on the Google Play Store, the iStore, or the Huawei App Gallery. So you upload your app and you give us a bit of a description. Entries. So entries into categories. You've got one free entry. You can enter into as many categories as you want. You've got one free entry, and then entries after that is 250 Rand per entry. But because all of you are here, I'm going to make your entries free. I'm going to give you a particular code name, which you need to quote. You need to put that code name in the description of your app. Where it asks you for describe your app, you need to start with this particular code name. I'm going to drop it into the chat after this presentation. But basically, it's AOYX. So app year X AOYX 2021. If you drop that in the description, all of your submissions will be free, because you gave up your Friday for us, so we're giving up something for you. Give and take. Our next quote is, "The show must go on." So previously, we've had just a judging day where judges judge the apps, play around with the apps, and then we've shortlisted from that and to another judging day where app developers are actually needed and required for them to come and pitch the apps to the judges of the likes of Andrew, who's on the call with us right now. So you would need to pitch if you are a finalist. And you need to tell this panel of judges about your app. They're going to ask you questions and they grill you. I don't know if they do, but yeah.
Can I tell a quick story about when you have to present in person?
Sure.
A quick minute about one of the apps they presented to us.
Yeah.
They came online, a bunch of guys in Stellenbosch. I'll be very quick, okay? And I think it's pertinent, okay? So they come on, and it's early in the morning. They're dialing in because they're in Cape Town. They didn't fly up. And they take us through. We have the whole normal judging procession, and we all let them do their thing. And, they pitch. And it was a decent pitch and everything. But needless to say, they didn't really do too well that year in the judging. They didn't really feature at all, okay? But the funniest thing is about I don't know, 8 to 10 months later, NASPAS invested about, I don't know, something like $20 million in that company.
Was it all of you?
This was aerobotics. This was aerobotics.
Okay, yeah.
So this is a drone application that flies. The drones fly, gathers the information, puts it into a big data set, uses AI, artificial intelligence. It's a farming app, agriculture, picks up pesticides and things like that on the crop. Very cool, amazing. But the guys didn't really do a great job, okay, at telling us their story. And as judges, unanimously, we didn't really feature. But who are we to say? They went on to secure a massive amount of funding on their own. So, sometimes it's those little gems and diamonds that get away. They slip through the system. But I think the point is, from big to small startup, you've got to come, you've got to present, be passionate about what you're talking about, okay? We want to see that passion coming through, and that will also score you points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so take it from a judge who sits actually on the judging panel, what they're looking for. Bring your best foot forward, and also take it as a stepping stone. Bring your best foot forward, but don't be disheartened by not being featured in the app of the year, like Andrew says. That but to get through this game, bring your best foot forward. Bring your best pitch forward. Thank you, Andrew.
Pleasure.
Cool. So these are the judging days. This is the other one judge, Andy Kumalo. He's one of our judging panelists. So how we're doing it this year, we're actually going to do a reality show. So that's how big App of the Year 10 has become. We're actually doing a reality show where all the pitches are going to be filmed and recorded and put onto, I want to say TV, but let's park that for now. But it's basically Dragon's Den for this year. So we go through a first round of judges where we go from 600-700 apps, and we get to the top 75 finalists, which is about 5 apps per category. The 5 apps per category get invited to come pitch in front of the judges. That will be recorded, and we'll record that with backstories of the apps and actually produce a mini series And yeah, we'll produce a mini series and we're going to put that out to the world. So you need to put your best foot forward, not only for the judges this time around, particularly for the judges, but not only for the judges this time around, but also because the public is going to see you pitch your app. And yeah, the purpose of this is really to build a connection between your app, yourself, and the audience that sees it. Because as an app developer, you want marketing. So what we're doing here is giving you marketing before you win App of the Year award. So this is you selling yourself on a big platform, on MTN's platform. Before you actually even win anything. So this is sort of like how you'd have Planet of the Apps. Everybody in the country will get to see what your app is about. And if you tell a compelling story, more likely than not, people are going to go onto whatever app store that you have and download your app. If you tell a compelling story and your app is not in the app store, there's more reason for people to want to search for you, to want to invest in you, to want to know more about your business. So you really, like Andrew says, need to tell your story, and you need to bring what problem are you solving, and what the solution is, and how are you solving that problem. So those are very, very key factors into the pitch process. We also really are going to do sort of something behind the scenes where, we just talk about you as an app developer, where you can get to talk about yourself. For example, Caridas from Kula, he grew up in a regular, I guess, South African story, but it doesn't make it, less glamorous. But, grew up in dire straits in a township, really tried, really hustled, really did that. And now he's one of, South Africa's biggest app developers or owners of an app development tech company that is really solving a problem not only in our country, but in the continent as well. Okay, cool. Almost at the end. Mtn Business App of the Year Awards 2021. I'm just going to give you a brief highlight of what the event is going to look like. We do about 65 events in a year as Creative Space Media, but this is always my highlight. This is always the biggest event and my most emotionally invested event that I do emotionally and creatively. Our second last quote is, "I am king of the world." If you know where that quote comes from, tweet it, drop it in the comment section. Actually, don't drop it on the comment section because everyone will see. Tweet it, and the first person to get all 6 right gets to win $500 in Take-A-Lot vouchers. So, App of the Year Awards 2021. Again, just bear in mind that COVID happened, so we have to have this thing digitally. But we had it digitally last year, and it was a humdinger of an event. It's nothing short of spectacular. It's nothing short of what we used to have in a physical event. So basically, it's always themed. Last year's theme was business on top and party at the bottom. So we had a small group of people, 50 people that came through to a physical venue, and everybody was dressed up in suits and pajamas at the bottom. I should have put my picture here, but I can show you very, very quickly after this presentation. And then what I love about App of the Year, the community is involved. Everybody's involved. People were also dressed up. It's a dress-up party. People were also dressed up and taking pictures of their outfits and tweeting them and posting them. People were winning amazing prizes. We've got a very energetic MC, not myself. It's Sneh Dladla, who's a comedian as well. It's a fun evening. And we hosted at a physical event for a small group of people. Everybody else, including the finalists and winners, get to dial in, and they are brought into screen. And when they win, they get to celebrate on screen for the entire country to see, and we stream that out live to everybody. We've got a platform called Remo, where it allows all of you developers to jump from one table to another, to really network with each other, get to know each other. I mean, you're meeting, some of, the country's most famous app developers. You're meeting some of the country's most famous business people. Last year, we had the likes of Theo Baloy from Batu, who's just there because he just wanted to be there. He just wanted to interact with people. So you actually it's a networking platform. So that's App of the Year and how we're going to run it. One thing I want to say, though, about this year and what we're doing, I told you about the Africa integration, that we're going out into the rest of the continent, and the rest of the continent is coming to us. For the first time in 10 years, we've refined this process, we've refined these awards, and now we want to officially be the biggest thing app developer related on the continent. And again, our ethos is about celebrating the underdog and not saying because this corporate is got more money or more resources than this developer, then we're going to put them forward. It's all equal, and we're looking at innovation. So I'm going to, with that said, I'm going to switch through to a very quick spreadsheet. Program directors, I'm so sorry, this took a little bit longer than expected, but I'm just going to switch to a quick spreadsheet just to show everyone the types of winners that we've had since 2012 until today. Our last quote regarding the Africa integration is UNITY, UNITY. If you know where that is from, tweet it, post it, win prizes. Guys, I've spoken for so long. Can everybody see the spreadsheet?
We're still looking at your slides at the moment.
Okay.
I'm
going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to share again. Sorry. Share a window. All right. So this is a spreadsheet that depicts the winners that we've had for the last 10 years, or 9 years, because this is our 10th year. And I just want you to see what the ecosystem has been like. And like, this is also just a little bit of knowledge for everybody. So in 2012, I actually don't have data for 2012 in terms of who the finalists were. So at the top part of the spreadsheets are the winners in each category. And then the bottom part of the spreadsheet are the runner-ups. Yeah. So in terms of winners, and then the blue are the overall winners. These are the apps of the year. So every year we have the best app for that year are the ones highlighted in blue. And then everyone else wins a category. So for 2012, I actually don't have the data. 2013, you can see that there were a lot more corporates in the game because app development was still very, very expensive, and there were not a lot of sort of startups that were getting into the space. The ones highlighted in pink are actually the startups, the underdogs, the up-and-coming developers. So in 2013, we only had 2 as finalists, but you can see at the bottom how many corporates we've had as runners-up compared to how many winners we've had who actually were startups. So I'm going to actually just start on, 2016. Ikoka, quite a well-known app, was just a 2-man band in 2016 when they entered, and now they're one of the biggest fintech that are competing with the likes of Yoko at the time. But they won over the likes of FNB, Showmax, Sasol, BBC, My Toyota. In 2017, these are the startups that won over all of these corporates. In 2018, Cola was the main winner, the app of the year. And if you see the blues versus the blues of the corporates who have won versus the up-and-coming developers, there've been 5 underdogs that have won app of the year and only 4 corporates that have won app of the year. And I still discount 2012 and 2013 because startups weren't really going into app development because of the cost of app development. But if you look at 2020, 2019, and 2018, actually even and 2017, you can see that a lot more underdogs have been winners of app of the year than there have been corporates. And this is, for me, indicative of the fact that a lot more innovation can happen with a lot more flexibility. And this is just me saying to you that enter into the Mtn Business App of the Year Awards. It's really worth your while. How ANC Conference 2017? What's that, T? App of the Year Awards, guys, is really, really, really worth your while. It's epic. I really don't know what to say. It's one of the biggest platforms that celebrates up and coming talent, and talent, just full stop talent. Doesn't matter whether it's up and coming. Andrew and his judging panel don't look at your bank account. We don't look at any of that. Is your solution well thought out? Is it innovative? Is it solving something? That's all. And you can win. Okay, I'm dropping the code now. So if you enter into App of the Year Awards, but here's the trick. You have to enter this weekend. If you enter into the App of the Year Awards this weekend using this code, your submissions are all free, regardless of how many submissions you put in. But if it's any other time, one submission is free, and then all the others are 250 Rand. I am dropping the AOYX 2021, the code in there. There is the code. And yeah, I wish you all luck, and I really, really look forward to seeing all of your submissions over the weekend. Thank you, Gabe and Skinny. Whew. I spoke a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Caesar. No, you never. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Caesar, for the information that you gave us. Hopefully, the participants will actually register for the App of the Year. Wish I could also, but maybe some other time. Okay. Next slide, Mr. Gabriel. Okay, moving on, I would like to call the Cooler guys. They're going to be telling us about tools and platforms to support and grow your business.
Skinny, I am so
Can you hear
sorry.
me?
Yeah, I can hear. I'm so sorry to do this to you. Guys, there's one important thing I forgot to mention. The prize for the App of the Year Awards. I am so sorry. This is a big thing. I'm so sorry. So ever since the beginning, we have been giving away 200,000 Rand as a trip. So it's a 200,000 Rand trip to anywhere you want to go in the world, to a tech-related place. So a lot of people have been going to Silicon Valley. It's always been 200,000 Rand. This year, because it's 10 years, we are giving away R1 million. So the prize for this year is $1 million, and R1 million in cash, and not just as a trip. Yeah, I'm sorry. I needed to say that. Sorry, Skinny. Over to you. I was hoping everyone would go and go crazy and go submit, but yeah.
No, they are muted. Don't worry. They're going crazy.
Short, Skinny.
Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you. 1 million. It's something else. Hopefully, people win it, and the app that's gonna win. Hopefully, we're gonna use it, and yeah, best of all luck, guys. So, moving on. Yes, Kula will be sharing information about tools and platforms to support and grow your business in agriculture supply chain. So it's going to be some interesting thing to know about agriculture. Do we have people from Kula?
Yo, how's it, Kingsley? How you doing?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm all right. So my name is Jackson. I'm one of the co-founders at Kula, and I'm actually taking the position of the CTO at the present moment. Yeah, that's a very vague statement, to be honest. I don't even know how to tackle it. All right. So I think since what I've been put on the spot, I'm going to tackle this from more of a technical point of view, and I'm also going to talk about how winning Mtn App of the Year actually helped us to get where we are. So from a technical view, I'm going to get too technical. That's my problem. I think I can talk about the tools that we use at the present moment, and I'm not sure if people are really interested in that. But I'm not.
Are you? Sorry to interrupt. Are you able to share your screen?
No, I was told about this today. I wasn't able to prepare.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Sorry, just a quick one, Jackson. You don't have to tackle the topic. Ever since Kula won the MTN Business App of the Year award, how has the journey been? Just highlight some of the things that Kula has been able to do just to inspire other developers that are here.
All right. I think when we entered the Kula App of the Year, we were concentrating mainly on the fresh produce market, and we were sort of like concentrating on saying like farmers, we can aggregate farmers' fresh produce, and we sort of like sell to retailers. That was our main focus. Then when we won MTN App of the Year, we took the trip and we went to TechCrunch in Germany. Upon arriving, so the publicity that we actually got from MTN App of the Year managed to get us in the room with Absa, which is our banking partners at the present moment. And I would say the relationship has been great. Then from there, we met one of the biggest agrochemical companies in SA. It's called AECI. Very, very great guys that we work with. That's when we noticed that we started noticing that only the selling vegetables is not the only thing, because for someone to sell vegetables, right, they need fertilizer in the first place to put in the soil, and they actually need seeds and all those things. So we started like noticing extra things. How the ecosystem is actually bigger than we initially thought. And through AECI, we managed to get the idea of, okay, we're now selling things like fertilizers, spraying chemicals, seeds, and all those things on the app. And we're busy with the national rollout in South Africa right now. That's what we're busy with for the Inputs app. We call it the Inputs app because you need to put stuff in the soil. And also we are using with the publicity that we got from MTN as well. It actually opened doors to us meeting to be able to hire more people through raising funding. So don't let them fool you. Having the MTN App of the Year as on your resume is really going to. It has that extra punch. It has that extra punch, to be honest, and it helped us to get funding and to actually hire more people. And at the present moment, we have six developers working on the different apps. And we managed to hire people that are going to help us with opening the market, to say like, okay, we need to talk to, let's say, Spar, we need to talk to Pick and Pay. So we are able to actually accomplish those kind of things at the present moment. Yeah, I think I don't want to take too much time, but it's been a great journey ever since. It's been a tough one because deadlines are always killing you. They're always on your, they're always chasing you. So yeah, it's a tough one. But to be honest, MTN App of the Year really opened doors for us, and we are very grateful to be where we are at the present moment. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And so the program director should just jump in quickly. Great stuff from Kula. I just want Mkontli perhaps to also come in because he won the best educational app last year. Just sort of like what was the courage and perhaps what motivated you, Mkontli, to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna enter this and I'm going to win. So as a developer, how do you find that courage and confidence to say that I'm ready to put my app out there?
Good evening, T, and good evening, everyone. I'm not positioned properly to speak, so can you try and defer me maybe to later, if that's fine?
Okay, let me yield back to the program directors.
Mina ngifuna ukwazi, Jackson, how much are you worth? How much are you worth, Baba? I wanna know.
That's privileged information. I can't disclose any information at the present moment.
But it went from here to like sky.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, it did took a big jump for us. It did take a big jump for us, and yeah, it's still business. You still want to grow, but from where we are when we entered MTN App of the Year and where we are now, it's been an exponential growth. And there's no words to describe it, man. It's a great feeling to actually, like I think you did talk about Caritas coming from what do you call this? Caritas one is the CEO, coming from Ekangala, right? Pretoria, they're deep down. Matthew, one of the co-founders as well, he came from Pietermaritzburg, and I'm actually from Zim, also in the rough neighborhoods of Zim. Yeah, and being able now to actually say okay, I'm now I can do certain things comfortably. It's very humbling, to be honest. It really is.
Yeah, now you've got money now. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jackson, and for that. Hopefully, people will get inspired from you guys, and also push harder to win. Mr. Gabriel, can we have the next slide? So, without wasting any time, would like to ask the floor to ask questions, and the creative team guy from Sizwe will actually answer the question, and also Jackson will answer the question. Do we have any questions from the floor? Anyone?
Skinny, there are questions in the Q&A. The first question is there a difference between App of the Year and the 72-hour hackathon? Sizwe, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I can answer it. So the 72-hour hackathon is part of MTN App of the Year. So what it is the MTN App of the Year is the main campaign, right? And within the main campaign, there's sort of two sub-streams into getting into the App of the Year awards. The one stream is if you've got an app, already existing app, you can just enter it into the App of the Year awards. Just go into appoftheyear.co.za and enter it there, right? The second stream is twofold. Number one, if you are an upcoming developer who needs to upskill themselves and just to refine your skills into app development, join the Mtn Business App Academy, and you go through a 6-week training program, and that culminates after the 6 week. It culminates into the 72-hour hackathon. And then the solutions that come out of the hackathon get entered into the App of the Year awards. The second substream is that maybe you don't need to upskill, but you want to take part in the hackathon. You can just enter into the hackathon without taking part into the App Academy awards. Maybe you already are a great developer, but you want to take part in the hackathon. You take part in that. And then again, those solutions from the MTN Business 72-hour hackathon get submitted into the App of the Year awards. So the App of the Year awards are the parent. The 72-hour hackathon is the child. The MTN Business App Academy is the other child. And the Campus Cup is the other child. So they're all streams that feed into the App of the Year awards. I hope I answered that properly.
No, I hope everyone understood. And then program director, the other question is, I'm a website developer. I have done a website that solves a problem. Am I allowed to enter the competition?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to answer that, bro.
All right. So generally, if you have got either a native, a hybrid app, and also a web app. So those are the ones that are normally allowed to be entered. But a website is a little bit complex. But what I would suggest you do is try to see if you can quickly build a web app. There's still time. The applications are closing on the 9th of August. So you need to enter your app by 9 August. To be able to take part in the competition. The due date is still the same, right, Caesar? 9 August?
9 August is still the same.
Okay. All right. And then another question is, how do we enter the hackathon if we're not part of the academy? So we will, especially for everyone that's here, we will send a link with a form so that you get to put up your team in there as well. And then another question, is it too late to join the 6-week academy, Caesar?
It's not. It's really not too late. It's just that we are on Tuesday. So this happens every Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, we are on session number 5. So it's the Tuesday session and then another session that's left. Tuesday's session is part 2 of what we had previously, and which focuses on functionality and intelligence. And the following session is focusing on the back end of the app. It's not too late. It's just that I'm scared that you might not catch up. But what I will say is that all the other lessons are available for you on the website. So it's not too late. You just would need to do a catch up on all the other sessions. So if you really, really want to join, you can send us an email. I'm going to put it in the chats. See, I don't know if I should put the App of the Year email or I'll just put my email. It's fine.
I can put App of the Year. It's fine.
I don't know that email.
App of the Year. It's academy@appoftheyear.co.za.
Okay,
Yeah. So with that one, that will allow us to help you faster, because we'll then onboard you into the virtual workspace of the platform as such. But then to add on Caesar, in terms of the academy. This year at the academy, you get to have credit points with a certificate. So there will be an assessment towards the end of August, where everyone in the academy will be writing that assessment and then get the certificate, so that certificates are important, when you're applying for a job and things like that. So that's the beauty of the academy. You also get to have something that we can use in applying for a job, something. So it also makes it easier as well if you decide to pursue another course from the Mtn Business App Academy. You just get that module that's related to apps development exempted, because you were part of the Mtn Business App Academy. So Cesar said that this is big, guys. It's big. It's building skills. There's money. There's the vibe. There's a whole lot of things. It's just a great time to be in the tech space.
Massive. Thanks, dear. I see there was like a few hands up. Isaiah, I don't know if I'm reading that correctly. Has a hand.
Oh yes. So perhaps before Isaiah, there's another question: as any dates for the hackathon? So that one is easy. From the 6th up until the 8th of August, that's when it will be happening. And also just to mention that this will be the biggest hackathon in the continent to date. So both are things all the way. So if you remember a TechCrunch hackathon a few years ago, there were about 7,000 participants, but but this one it's only going for around 3,000. But you know,
Mighty, we need to pick that up. I want to be the biggest in the world, fam.
all right, yeah, but 6 to 8 August, that's when the hackathon will be taking place. Perhaps let me yield back to Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Who's Isaiah? See, now they're giving us names, eh?
Isaiah
Jokone.
Yeah, thank you. Most of my questions are answered. It's clear. So we are just right now go.
Thank you, man, Isaiah. Oh, I thought they were calling me, man. I was like, hey, I know. This new name sounds interesting.
Hello.
Okay.
Isaiah, ask a question. Okay.
No, I think it's good.
How are you?
We okay, Isaiah? How are you?
Say I didn't get
No, Isaiah, stop muting. Just
I-
one question.
the network problem.
I think Isaiah is breaking.
Okay. Yeah, hello. Yeah, thank you. Most of my questions are already answered. So I'm happy.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Isaiah, ask your question on the chat. Just ask
Okay,
it on
thank
the
you.
chat. Post your question on the chat and we can answer it for you quickly. Skinny, do you want to carry on?
Yes, sir. Gabriel, next slide, please. Oh, okay. Thank you guys for the questions, and I would like to hand over to Gabriel. And if there's any other questions, please do post them on the chat or the Q&A pod. Thank you, Gabriel. Over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Giddy. So I'm just going to go over a recap of some of the important dates. So as mentioned before, you have from now until the 9th of August to submit your app. And then the official awards will be on the 2nd of September. So those are your two key dates.
Oh, sorry. I'm sure Sis was screaming as well. So the awards will be 16 September.
I was screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So this is an old outline.
Awesome. Thank you so much, T. So yes, please do excuse that mistake, guys. The date for the awards, as mentioned, is the 16th of September. So yeah, if you're ready to go and submit your app and you want to clock in that free voucher, please do so. Remember that the website is appoftheyear.co.za. It's quite easy to navigate, so please do head over there and do the things if you already have an app. And yeah, just to run over some of the categories again, here they are on the screen. Yeah, you're welcome to read through them. We will also be sharing the recording of this session with you guys, so do stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, we can end things on that note, guys. Please do in your free time visit this link, which is bit.ly/AOY-dev meetup-survey, guys. So this is just a survey to find out from you guys if this meetup was helpful and just to get your feedback. Aside from that, guys, let me hand over to Sizwe.
Sorry, Gabe. Treat your answers for the 500 Rand Take a Lot competition as well. Sharp. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. So just
that is
as well, do fill in the survey. So we'll be having more meetup sessions. So some of them will get a little bit technical to also discuss, how do you make sure that your app has a great architecture, so we'll also get a little bit technical in some of the sessions as such. So do give the feedback so that we can plan it better. But perhaps, Kondle, do you want to are you able to talk as we close?
Okay, hello. Yeah, I can talk now, but you'll be hearing a lot of cuss, and I apologize about that.
Okay.
Can you just repeat the question that you had asked me earlier too?
All right. So it was essentially you won Best Educational App last year in the MTN Business App of the Year. Just quickly, as a developer, how do you find that courage to say that I'm now ready to put my app out there, you know, in a big stage like that?
Yeah. Well, I think the direct question is that it's not easy to actually find that courage. But for us as a team, we had looked at the work that we had been doing for the past 2 years, and the kind of impact that we were having on our users, and the kind of feedback that we're getting from our users as well, all pointed to the direction of us having the confidence to actually enter the MTN App Awards. But I think it was important that before we entered the awards, I think leading to that, 6 months leading to that, we were doing a lot of polishing as well to ensure that, you know, a lot of things are up to standard given the kind of apps that we're going to be competing with in the award. But I think it was more on impact, the amount of work that we had been doing like in recent years, and also the kind of feedback that we're getting from our users is the one that really gave us that courage to enter the awards.
Awesome. Yielding back to you, Mr. G, to close off.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. T. Yeah, guys, we hope this session was of value to you. We hope this gives you a nice outline as to what your next steps are. And good luck to those who will be entering. And we hope to see you. Yeah, we hope to see your app on the list. I hope you guys have a good Friday further on, and cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Hope you enter. Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for coming through, man.
Cheers, man. Take it easy. Have a great one, everybody. Good luck.
You too. Bye-bye, everyone.
Enjoy the weekend, guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.